This is Dev. Dev embarks on a podcasting journey to listen to the countless creatives, leaders, normal everyday people, and everyone in between in his life on Devisalive and Listening To.
Guwell, you're easily one of my favorite producers, separate from our connection as just being friends, but not only friends, brothers. A constant source of inspiration, whether through our conversations or your daily tweets to remind everyone to make dope shit. I'm excited to learn and relearn a lot about you and how specific moments led you to where you are today. And that's kind of led us to where we're at right now, listening to you, your story on the podcast, very new podcast, very first episode of this podcast, and I'm very excited to have you on because we've had, I would say, 3 separate conversations in podcast form.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
You were each house that I've lived in.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, how much have you changed? Which is
as a person,
kind of a dumb question, but
probably changed the day after we did a podcast.
No, 100% the hour. But I believe the very first one was 2018. What has occurred in your life since 2018 to where you've been in so many different positions in your life? What has been the learning process so far?
Well, realistically, you know the saying when somebody says that you do something enough times over and over again and you expect a different result, it's kind of insanity in a way. That's kind of how it felt over the last couple of years, where I was just been kind of doing the same thing over and over again and not really liking fully where I was at. And mostly just came from just not giving enough time to myself, kind of just splitting it up for other people or trying to go, portray a certain image or try to keep up with a certain friend group. Whereas now it's just I've been kind of thinking about myself. What do I need if I want to go, do something, if I need something, if I want to make a certain kind of genre of music, whatever it is, it's more so about making sure that I'm in the best mental space ever. So I think 2018, around that time, it was at the beginning of me getting, financially everything I needed at that point, because I wasn't worried about anything as far as money wise, because I working and all the other stuff. But now it's more so about okay, now that I got all the where am I gonna stay out of the way, or all the other anxiety that comes with just being a man out here, you know what I mean? Yeah. But and now I can focus on just fine tuning myself. And that's what since 2018 has been. So mostly just different houses and stuff like that. Same roommates. Just trying to.
Well,
economy crazy, dog.
Nah, it's insane.
It's wild.
Throughout all of that, you've found yourself in a place of comfortability, absolutely, which is like really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
What has been the biggest trying to find a way to word it, your biggest ick with being in the music business?
My biggest ick so far, with being in music,
because I'm very much so an enthusiast of music, and kind of know more than the standard listener, just because I used to be a part of it on a daily basis. So I know what comes with the territory of being that, especially seeing my friends enter the beginning and some parts middle of being in that industry. What has been the growing pains? What has kind of led you to some not so happy thoughts about being a part of it?
Well, I guess really the game of as far, because it's different when you're a producer, you're playing a certain game, and realizing that it's not really about making sure that I'm the craziest, most knowledgeable, crazy producer, and then I can start and really figure this out. It's really about showing people the growth through it. But then you kind of get lost in the fact that that person's 17 and he's making crazy beats, and I was not making crazy beats when I was 17, sure. And then noticing that man, if he got into a room that I didn't, that I wasn't in, that could be my thing. But then realizing that you know, that would be his thing. It has nothing to do with me specific. I'm not losing, you know, by, you know, not being the dopest producer or whatever it is, or being the most known producer or whatever it is. It's supposed to be just getting back to the music itself. So I lost that, just kind of, you know, looking at other people and hanging out with a lot of producers who think that way, where it's like, you know, these motherfuckers can come in and steal my spot. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And then, so that's a giant ick, because you hang out with a lot of producers who do think that it's like a limited space in here. There's only certain amounts of sauce they can give out, certain amounts of, you know, of you know, likes they can have on their phone, or reposts or whatever it is, or certain whatever it, you know. It's not about any of that stuff. It's just about the art itself, just getting back to the music. And, you know, I've been to the best mind space I've ever been, you know, just getting back to the music itself only.
Yeah.
So, no more ick.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I know that kind of territory comes with, like, literally anything anyone's interested in, because there's going to be good parts and there's going to be bad parts. Something I did mention in the beginning letter, which, by the way, I meant everything I said. You are a constant source of inspiration, and that doesn't just come from our personal...
I'm going to need that somewhere in writing.
Yeah, that doesn't come from, you know, just our conversations. It comes from what I mentioned, your tweets, what seems like to be a daily tweet of just go out and do some dope shit.
Yeah.
Along with some kind of precursor of, I know this is hard, I know this sucks, but just keep going.
Yeah.
Make dope shit.
And it's almost like it's for me in a way as well, because I need those words sometimes.
I was going to ask you, are
you know
these
I mean?
like kind of just
for
things
me.
you're saying, or are they also, you know, geared towards some inspiration for yourself?
They started being for only me, and then I got the first message from, I think, I'm not even sure. I think it might have even actually been Niaja from our high school. Hit me up when she was like, I needed this. And I was like, whoa. Because I never put myself in that. And that's my main thing about music even, is that sometimes I don't think that like somebody's trying to hear what I have to say. So I don't say anything. Or I don't do anything. Because I'm like, what the fuck, you know, what does my opinion matter or whatever it is. So it's just, and I never think of myself as like, I could lead something ever. I've never thought about myself as leadership in any kind of way. So
Yeah.
being in a way that I can like, I can just put a tweet out and it can change somebody's day off of just 4 or 5 words. You know what I mean? And I'm using it for myself, but then I put it out in the world and somebody else may have needed it. You know, 0 likes or 1,000 likes or whatever, somebody's telling me all the fucking time, whether they retweeted it, liked, commented or not. They're like, oh, I needed that.
Yeah.
So it kind of almost feels like it's the easiest duty that you can have for people. Like, it took me like 3 seconds to just be like, yo, have a good day today.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%.
And then somebody's like, I needed that shit. I woke up feeling like shit.
Yeah.
So, and then I have people on Twitter that also, I see that on Twitter too. So I'm just like, I could be on some, look at what this rapper's doing or whatever it is, or I could just be assisting my community by just being like, hey,
Yeah.
y'all have a good day. You know what I mean? And that's it.
Personally, I can vouch. I mean, I feel like I've liked every single one of them, and they kind of have come in this like weird sporadic fashion when I'm actually doing something that I need to be doing, like creatively. Like, I'll be making a video and I'll find this one part of an essay that I can't figure out how to word, and I'm just like, fuck this video, I'm gonna do something completely different. And then I see, hey man, I know it's hard, make some dope shit today, and I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mac.
That's the goal. That's the game. As long as that's happening to somebody somewhere. Oh, that's the motherfucking goal.
It means a lot, and I genuinely feel at home when I read stuff like that, because it's not only coming from just some random person that I just met on the internet. It's like, oh, that's nice. I like that person. It's coming from someone I've known for a decade now.
Yeah.
So with that said, let's go back a little bit further into Guwell as a person. What has your upbringing been like up until, I don't know, like recently?
Up until, so like where did it start? I guess like even way before I was calling myself Guwell, or like even before music. Where we?
Yeah,
where we?
The bare beginnings
bones
of Mackenzie.
Born Mackenzie. I go by Mac.
Hey Mac.
Yeah, hey man. I didn't go by Mac until like 5th grade.
Yeah.
Because I had a teacher that was just like, some of my homies call me Mac. I'm just like, you should just go by that full time, and that's what your friends call you. Like that's what everybody should call you. So I thought about that. I was like, yeah, why not?
I understand.
It is what it is. I kind of like it. It's cool.
Yeah.
I don't have to be, Mackenzie. I was named after the dog, Spud Mackenzie. And this is a fucking true story.
Oh, I love
Don't let your
Spud.
sister name you. Yeah, because that's what happens. Yeah.
Shout out to Spud Mackenzie. Shout out to Toy Story.
Yeah, so she had, and that's the dog, right? It's the dog.
Yeah.
So she's like,
which is almost rabid the entire.
like wild, bro. So it's just like, yeah, she named me that. My mom was cool with it. And then grew up with her, my sister. I have 2 sisters, one through my dad, who I don't know. But my mom, who stayed around, I have one with her specifically. She has cerebral palsy, is a disability, which is kind of difficult for all of us, growing up and things of that sort. It was a lot of, her trying to figure out that other people don't have that disability, and noticing that other people, kind of treat you differently. They pity you in almost a lot of ways, and then helping her as much as that everybody else can, and the family can, and things of that sort. So I love my sister to death for sure, and my other sister as well that I didn't get to know as well. I've met her later on in life when I was like 17. So 2 sisters, little brother. I'm the baby of everybody. But my mom Pamela, bunch of sisters, that she's I have aunts and uncles out everywhere, kind of thing, and she's I think the baby as well. Okay. So, but she I guess got into some trouble, got in some hard times and things like that when she was younger, got into drugs, and then lost custody of us when I was like 3 or 4, somewhere around there. And my aunt took us in, me and my sister, which was difficult for my aunt because she already has like 2 kids at that time too. And then having my sister who has cerebral palsy as well, needing the physical care, you got, when you're taking her, you got to break down the wheelchair, bring her, all that stuff, which was like my duty, obviously my sister, so I'm taking her, doing all that stuff. But so we started living down with my aunt around that time, and going to school in like Powder Springs area. So it's a nice area. So like out of anywhere I could have ended up, you know what I'm saying, like in the system or in Powder Springs, Georgia, you know what I'm saying? Got a pretty good shake on that one, So going to like I think Varner and like Hemp and stuff. And wasn't really into music like that. Like my mom used to listen to house music when she cooked, she cooked or like cleaned around the house and stuff. And that was her thing. So I love house music. And that's like not, like that, but like that 90s type, 80s type house music type shit. Love that. But, so I grew up on that. But music never really came and clicked like that until like maybe 5th grade, 4th grade, when that Recorder Karate came around.
Dude, I loved Recorder Karate.
You know what I mean?
I think that's what started my competitive nature.
And it was just this thing when you had like, we were in Recorder Karate where it's like, you had those tests, whatever it was, where you play a song and then you get a belt. Right. And like I remember people started getting into it, and I was one of the only people that wasn't really like fully grasping the whole Recorder Karate thing. Like my recorder was in my bag, but I had no belts on that thing.
Right.
I don't want to listen to it. I don't want to like learn songs when I'm at home, and I don't want to do all this other shit. Like this shit's lame. And then all my friends started doing it, and I was like, man, well, I don't want to like not, learn. I'm gonna learn these songs.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I went home, and I like learned like 4 or 5 out of the book, and it was just easy. And like the ones that these kids at school were like tripping up on, they couldn't get the fingerings for them, and I was like, man, I can play this thing. I was like, well, the music's kind of, hold on, like I can do it my own way, learn it my own way, and then like also come to class, present that I can play 4 songs, not just one. I'm gonna play through this motherfucking book. We had some kids who were just, going crazy, had all the belts and shit. And I was not one of those. But like I took it a little more seriously, and I was like, oh wait, like come around 6th grade when you can do band, I might try to go, learn an instrument or whatever. So 5th grade happened. Still not in the music or anything of that sort, but a teacher who kind of impacted everything. Crazy cool teacher, Miss Sealand. Never forget the name, obviously, because we have teachers that impact you for sure. I would go back to her if she's still teaching and stuff now, as I was going back when I lived in my aunt's house back then, but like next to the school. But I go back and say hey all the time, full grown beard and everything. Like I was here in 5th grade, like hey, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but she's like impactful and kind of like taught me how to not be necessarily worried about my home situation and not having like a parent to talk to you about certain things, and like, okay, I'm getting older and I have questions, but I can't ask anybody those things because like at my house, there's children already being raised by their parents, right. And it's like I think more so that my aunt and them took the they took the opportunity, the burden off of my mom and all that other stuff, but knowing that you don't really sign up for raising somebody else's kids that you don't paternally feel like that they're your own, so you're gonna miss a couple things and things of that sort. So I'm gonna have questions that probably haven't been asked by her own children and things of that sort, but she's not gonna be able to pick up on those things. So my teacher was that one of those ones where I could come to and ask her questions and certain things. And so I was like, after 5th grade, I'm going to do this band thing. And I kind of knew how I could, navigate shit a little bit better. So,
sure.
Yeah. So 6th grade happens. I'm skateboarding around the neighborhood. I asked my aunt at that time, I was like, hey, can I go do the little, and you remember that had that band camp thing in like 6th grade, I guess, where they brought all the instruments out and you can test the mouthpiece, you can test all the other shit. You remember that?
Like a tryout.
Yeah, it's like a tryout thing. My friend was driving through the neighborhood and I asked my aunt if she could take me, and she couldn't take me, which was like the normal thing.
Yeah.
She's got her own situation going on. But my friend was like leaving the neighborhood and I was like, where y'all going? And he was like, we're going to the band thing. And I was like, can I ride with y'all? And he was like, yeah, because he's like my neighbor. So I threw my skateboard in the garage, got in there with him, went to the school, picked up a saxophone, which is wild.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna play saxophone, and ended up liking saxophone. Went home with it. Went to Ken Stanton. Went home with it. Practiced it. Started fracking notes and stuff. The reed was chipped, a bunch of other shit. I was like, I don't want to do this no more, bro. Give me something that's not like this. So I went back to Ken Stanton. We turned in the saxophone, got the trombone, and it was on ever since then.
Match made in heaven.
Yeah, because when I went to school, I was the best student because obviously when I go back home, I'm not in the best mind space, not having your own family kind of situation going on. You have you kind of feel very isolated all the time. But when I went to school, I was liked by people. People asked me questions about certain things. They inquired about who I was and what I was into. So it was my socialized time in a way, where my school was. So I was using more so school as a time to like kind of vitalize all that the human interaction that I needed.
Sure.
When I was supposed to be at home. So home wasn't really the homework space, kind of situation. It was kind of more so try to get to the next day to where I can get to that thing that kind of recharges me. And band was like a really, really big, huge, thing I'm looking forward to during the day of getting better at my instrument. All my friends are interested in getting better at their instrument. Yeah. We're playing dope stuff. There's a chance to get into a better band. It's like a challenge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I needed in a lot of ways, I felt like. So that helped. And then throughout 6th, 7th, 8th grade, band.
Yeah.
And then 9th grade hit. And I knew I was going to take it way more serious than I needed to.
Sure.
And then so band was like super heavy. I wanted to be in marching band, didn't do it 9th grade year, 10th grade year. Ended up doing it. And the band was really cool. I met y'all, you fools.
You did.
It was y'all's freshman year.
Yeah.
It was my sophomore year. And life was just really, really dope. And we were going to band, and also the shit was happening. First semester was lit. And then second semester happens, and mom dies, and then world just crashes down. Because in a way, during that time, living with my aunt, and then my mom is still somewhere in the world.
Right.
You know, during that time, she's on drugs, all that stuff. I don't know my father at that time at all. So I'm like, in the back of your head as a child, you're kind of thinking like, okay, well, one day she's gonna show up with her shit together, scoop us back up. You know, all's forgiven. Man, sophomore year when that shit happened, dude, it was like the whole world just fucking. And because it was just like nothing else mattered at that point, because you're kind of waiting on somebody to kind of like save you out of a situation, but it kind of doesn't happen. So yeah, I don't know, like band just wasn't as dope. You know what I mean? Like just making music wasn't as dope.
This is your sophomore year, so this is 2013.
Right.
Okay. Question before we continue on, just because that seems like such a pivotal chapter. What I personally know what the grieving process looks like as an adult,
right?
Just based on that happening earlier this year. What
was the grieving process at 16
as a high
schooler?
Because I can't even fathom.
Man, marching band, maybe a little bit was like a release, and it didn't let me grieve. I had something to kind of like physically keep me from being down on myself all the time.
A distraction.
The super distraction all the time. So like that was a blessing in a way that I didn't have to do that. And like obviously our band director was a good dude, so he didn't.
Incredible.
He was kind of trying to keep me from all of that stuff, because they could have gone way worse for me.
Sure.
Mentally at that time. So it was just like keeping me busy, keeping me physical. Just keeping yourself physically active. It's just like it kind of kept me from a lot of stuff. But around that time, it was just a lot of just isolation for me. Wow. Because I feel like my family was like also waiting on her to come back too.
Right.
And everybody was kind of waiting for her to kind of like figure it out. Because you don't know where she's at. So you're kind of hoping that like maybe one day you're just going to get off the drugs. You're just going to be able to figure out this blah, blah, blah. Yeah. We're not going to find you dead in your apartment one day.
Yeah.
And then, it happens. So it's just like, so it's one of those things where it's like, a lot of isolation, a lot of just being like by myself, a lot of just, trying to, so nobody's coming to save you. Kind of one of those situations, and you kind of have to get over it young in a way where it's like, if anything's going to happen for you, it's going to be on you for sure. My sister, has a disability. You're kind of hoping that your mom's going to have some options and some ideas on how to take care of your sister or whatever it is. And that might come down to me,
right?
To help that out. So there's a lot of pressure. At 16, 17, where I'm just like, I don't know if it's going to be a school thing, if I don't know if it's going to be like how anybody's going to treat me now, if I'm going to get any help, like what happens when I leave the house, when I move out and all sort of shit. So, but it was in a way, it was what I needed as far as the isolation goes, just because I wasn't supposed to be in a relationship at that point. I know that much, just because I should have been dealing with my, just like by myself. More so than anything else, but high schoolers.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
We think we're a lot more resilient than we really are.
Like, I'll be fine. I can have relationships like everybody else does.
Sure.
And when that person that you're in a relationship with isn't in the best mental space either, you don't know how to handle any fucking thing.
And at the end of there, you just have a bunch of turmoil, and it's not
all the time.
Not a good situation. For
never good.
Either party.
So.
Oh, man.
And then high school was a big huge thing, but like music was always kind of very prominent. So when I lost music in sophomore year and kind of gained it back in like junior senior year kind of situation, I was like, oh man, like this is the outlet, no matter what it was specifically, like to the point where like I could have told my friend when they were driving out of the neighborhood going to the band camp, I could have told them that I was going to continue to skateboard around the neighborhood. Something told me, don't go back in the house where you don't feel that as comfortable. Go to play music, and then changed fucking the whole course of my whole life just by simply,
Well, that's so pretty.
You know what I'm
beautiful,
saying?
Dude.
Not going inside, So it's just, it was wild. So it was
shout out to that friend.
Right. Great dude. Great family as well.
Who is it?
My friend Oliver. Great dude. His family taught me how to like do a lot of stuff. He does that. He has
like dad. French horn Oliver.
He played trumpet.
Huh. I don't know why I remember him.
No. Okay. But like, all right. Well, yeah, that's the homie. Shout out you.
Okay,
for
shout
sure.
out Oliver.
Yeah, but
I
like,
thought he was talking about a different
Yeah,
Oliver.
but like, no, shout out him. Yeah, for like, because like his family, like they taught me a lot of stuff.
Sure.
And being accountable, apologizing, a lot of stuff that like kind of like you miss those things as a
Sure.
But like it's just yeah, like I had friends around the neighborhood who were all good people and just had good influences and good knew who the bad kids were, who the good kids were. So I just I wasn't gonna fall into hard times at all. I don't think as just how I was, how perceptive I was. It's just I knew what was bad and what was good and what was gonna be getting me to the next level,
right?
Kind of thing. So after high school, the music, I was like, yeah, like whatever I do after I leave here, it's got to be like music centered.
Well, you're kind of skipping a little bit of steps because there was another avenue of music that you were exposed to, which was through guitar.
Yeah,
you ended up being one of my favorite guitarists for quite a while because I'm gonna be giving you full credit, half credit with Jacob Rust for introducing me to metal, punk, hardcore, that area of music, and then one day being like, hey, you want to like play bass with us like one of these days? It was like you, me, Jacob Krause, Rust, and Sam Counts, I believe.
Sam Counts was drumming,
yeah, and it was a good fucking time. And it was also like my
just
first
jamming.
my first exposure to like doing that kind of jam session as opposed to playing tuba with
the homies and stuff.
People.
Yeah,
but
I remember that. Damn.
Yeah, no, great times.
Damn,
I still have recordings of it too.
Dude. Yeah, that was a good time. Yeah, just hanging out with them because like I started hanging out with Tad sophomore year as well.
Yeah.
And Tad was like a really giant, and I think his family too were like a really giant help to like keeping me out of the house and stuff. And they probably didn't even realize they were.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Just being good friends.
But yeah, like I was out of the house and I was hanging with the homies. It was me and Tad, Marcus, and Michael, and we would hang out around Tad's house and stuff. And I'd be learning guitar from Tad or picking things up and trying to like do things. And that's what kind of got me into. And then I had like another black friend who was into metal and knew all that stuff. So it was just like really weird that like, so a lot of that stuff is where that came from. And then, and that's where it started. And I started playing guitar real heavy and I wanted to be in a band real bad.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to play metal music real bad because all my musical influences were, metal music and indie bands and math rock and all that shit. And like, it was never hip hop, which is wild that I'm a hip hop R&B producer now. That's how it happens. Yeah, it's weird how that happens, but it does assist my music now to this very day. Me having those, those metal influences. There's certain things in my drums, certain fills that I'll do, certain pieces of syncopation that I'll put in my beats that you could have only gotten by listening to Meshuggah or or like somebody like anybody,
which
really
is a very universal theme because I think it all comes full circle when you hear like guys like Dave Grohl like really go like, oh dude, that's the OJs,
that's disco, bro.
That's where you really go, oh, this is just a language and it's so universal and can kind of fit into different pockets of the same language. We're just like doing different, I guess, intellects of it. So like whatever this person did in 65 can easily be applicable to today, and I think that's the best part about it. So
it's all just like a never ending like revolving, like we always come back to that same influence all the time, even if you're not trying to. Like there's nothing new under the sun in this music shit. So when somebody's like, "You stole my flow," I'm like, motherfucker, like somebody's been doing that shit in the 40s, bro. Like,
I don't know
what I'm saying? Your great grandpappy was was jigging to that shit. There's no way like you made that up. But like so it's just like nothing new under the sun. But the metal influence was it was there. The guitar was there. Like it was a huge part of me starting and learning FL. My cousin had FL. Whether or not if it was the real FL or not. What I'm saying? Back then, he got it from somebody else, who got it from somebody else, who got it from somebody else. But he had FL.
You had to hustle back in 2012.
And he was making R&B music.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And really? I was never into R&B. He's a dope-ass R&B producer. And he's making R&B music and beats and stuff. And I was never into R&B. I hated it. I was like, this love music. I don't really fuck with this at all. I like the beats. I hated the whole overall just like cheesiness of the music and like the everybody's simping and all this other shit. And I was like, I can't really relate to this. But I was too young, I guess,
to really gather.
You know what I'm saying? You haven't even kissed many girls yet. Like, what do you know what I'm saying? Like, because you couldn't possibly grasp what it feels like to make music like that. And then, like the more theory I learned, the more I started to touch keys, the more I started to hang out with certain crews. The more I started to understand like the building blocks of music, the more I started to to appreciate and want to be involved in every piece of every genre of anything. So I didn't really, I wanted to make R&B music, just because I couldn't at that time. So that's where I got into that. So but and it started crazy from metal music. Yeah. It's wild.
That's fucking
wild.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that translation.
But he had FL. I started playing my guitar through FL and started trying to make tracks. Like, I would get like Superior Drummer, or like it's like a VST, a MIDI instrument, and then I would get that and just like program drums, and I would try to go get the guitar. I have you come over and try to do the bass, or I try to go pitch down the bass on the guitar, see if I can try to do the pitch down. I would just try anything, just try to make some metal music, try to make it myself. And then, I don't know. I think one day I found this song from this metal group that I was into, and one of the producers, or one of the guys in that band, ended up being like a R&B producer, rap guy. His name's Lo-File now.
Lo-File.
Yeah, Lo-File now. And then went by Scout back then, but he made like this weird neo soul fusion, like R&B, lo-fi, but it was all kinds of different shit at the same time.
Yeah.
And I had never heard anything like it. And it blended everything that I was into. It had fills that were from metal. It had, it had keys that were from shit. It had like orchestral things that I knew from band. Like it had like lo-fi, drums, the shit that I listened to while making, doing homework, cleaning my room. So it was all the stuff that I was like really interested in all in one. I was like, you can do that?
Yeah.
Like, you can just brainchild this shit. Like, I want to just put this together and make it into a song, and people just like it in the masses.
Right.
And it pleases you as a musician, and it sparked something, I guess, for me as far as like production and trying to find my own sound and things. So, yeah. And then I got hooked. I got hooked. My computer. My cousin gave me his old computer. He got a new computer, and he gave me his old one. And that was, why'd you do that? You know what I mean? Why'd you do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just fucking took off. And that's the time that I started hanging out with y'all a lot. And we would hang out at my house, and we would record, make music. And that's what I would do. I'd wake up in the morning. I'd get myself some coffee or a drink and some breakfast. And then just beats.
And this is post-high school, correct?
Yeah, this is post-high school. It's like right after high school, they gave me a job.
Yeah.
High school gave me a job, and I started working there as a visual instructor with the marching band. And then at night, I would
just be doing beats.
And then before I'd go there, because it was only like 3 days a week, I'd be making beats every damn day.
Incredible.
Trying to make beats. And then I trying to learn how to work FL. Like, what is a compressor? Why does it do that? What is a limiter? Why is it limiting? Like all that kinds of stuff. And, YouTube University, this shit. Because I noticed that, like, my family's not going to help me out with you don't have any parents. And nobody's coming to save you. So you're not going to have anybody come here and just be like, give you $40,000, $50,000, for, to go to the school, to go get this education or whatever it is. It's going to be on me. It's going to be me making sure that I, go to get a job, save all my fucking money, do all my own stuff, and all that, and all that. It's gonna happen on, it's all gonna have to be on me. So and that was liberating in a way, and it kind of just pushed me a lot further as a musician, where I was like, oh, it's all on me. It's like a video game where I can create my own character. Like, there's nothing keeping me from getting to the end of the game other than my own choices.
Right.
So it's just, that's liberating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would challenge it not to be liberating to kind of ultimately come to the realization that I kind of said it like not too long ago, where you realize you're going to be the only one in the coffin. And
I'm stealing that shit.
As you should.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the ultimate realization, and you came to it pretty early in your life, where it was like, I got dealt a shitty hand, so fucking what?
That's it.
Let me go after what I want here, and not really be apologetic about it. Just go.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you made that decision for yourself at such a young age, but you were kind of privy to making the decision at a young age because shit was happening at an even younger age.
And you don't have that restriction of having the, like, and because like where it comes to, it's sad, you don't have the parents being like, you know, do this, don't do this. But it's also liberating in a way of not having somebody be over your shoulder and like all the time. Because I know I know a lot of people who have parents who are very protective of them. Yeah. But you know, me not having anybody in that position, you know what I mean? There's not going to be anybody being like, you know, as long as it doesn't break the rules of the house itself. It's like, yo, you can go do whatever the fuck you want to go do. Like, break your arm. I don't give a fuck who's gonna pay for your medical bills, but like, yo, bro, like that's on you. Yeah, and you're live learning. Yeah, so it kept me from making bad choices because I was gonna have to deal with it, and somebody else wasn't gonna deal with it for me. So
that's such an interesting theory of like, well, it's gonna be me who pays the consequence. You know what I mean? If kids had that,
nobody's coming to my rescue. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you don't fuck up. Yeah, so you just don't fuck up, and you make sure that all your choices are correct. So I met some good people around the way when I had to move out of my house eventually. Yeah. Yeah. And then he was like, you know, man, you're just going to have to go make it happen. He was like, so I stayed on this couch for like, he gave me 8 months. I bought a car, got my first, you know, my rent for the next house, bills, groceries, all this shit that I needed. Spent every fucking dime that I had accrued at that point. Got myself a place, and I've been moving ever since, man.
I remember that era. This is 2017, 18.
Yes, yeah.
Like, there was just like a switch that you can tell, and it kind of happens. Like, I feel like at specific points in people's life when they're just like, oh, I gotta do stuff. Yeah, like I have to be an adult, more or less, and. You were always on top of your stuff, Mac, but like at that point when we were watching you do what you were doing and knowing it wasn't an easy thing to do, it was like, oh shit, it's possible for us to like
we can all do it,
because more or less y'all are, I would say you, Tad, Mike, Marcus, y'all are like bigger brothers that we had, Jordan Bonner as well. Yeah, that like just we watch and we're like, oh, those are the big homies that like.
Shout out Jordan too, because he got me through a lot of days in marching band.
Jordan's incredible.
He probably did. He probably never even knew either.
Of course.
But like, just like senior year marching band, we had our solos and stuff of that sort. Yeah. Yeah, huge days. Shout out to him, for sure.
Yeah.
But no,
What? Just because we're in band territory, what were the biggest things that you learned from that point in your life that you feel still applies to your life?
My music now
at this point,
my life.
Either or, because music is your life.
You want to know a really weird one?
Please.
Posture. You know that? That's weird. When I walk through the store, and when I see other people that we were in band with, there's a weird posture that we have. When we walk into a room, it's like, I own this shit. But I'm not trying to walk in like that.
It's just something
it's just innate. Like, my shoulders are back. I'm like tall as shit walking through. Like, and people don't have that. I think some people hang their head when they walk into, you know, some places. Yeah. They walk past somebody. They look anywhere else but the person. They can't do that. I've realized, though, I'm like, damn, that's a thing that I carry with me. It's like a little piece of innate confidence that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna walk into this fucking room because like I'm him, and I don't mean to, be that, that guy that thinks like I'm him in every situation, but it just came from having to do that in marching band. Like, you could either walk into the field and be like, I'm gonna fuck this up, or I'm gonna walk on the field and just know I'm hitting every dot. I'm gonna frack this note. Who gives a shit if I frack that note? I'm gonna, I'm laser. I'm doing all the things that I need to do to get to the show done, just because like I owe that to everybody around me specifically, because somebody could be watching me thinking that like, I can't get to my set. Oh, but he's getting to his set. Oh, I have to, So it's just like, you never know that you're an example somewhere. So like, and I do that and I think about that shit. I'm way more perceptive than I ever was before, obviously. But, maybe it's due to anxiety, but like, it's just like, I think about that stuff now where I'm like, oh, like the way I carry myself right now is not only a service to myself, but like somebody could have glanced over at me 1 second and been like, man, That dude with the, you know, with the good posture and like the nice, he's confident, he's nice to everybody that he meets and stuff of that sort, changed everything for me.
Sure.
It might maybe not that day, but like, you know, a couple days later, a week later, a year later, you know, you might think of how somebody was nice to you, you might try to mimic that shit. So,
yeah, of course.
I do that.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Well,
we all mimic each other. I wish people would admit to it.
Yeah, I do that. I do that.
This is a general question, but answer however you want. How do you think like drum corps in general affected you as a person?
Drum corps?
Yeah. Being a part of it, being a fan of it.
I never got to do DCI, but I got a contract for DCI and just couldn't, obviously, with the family situation, nobody's going to give me $4,000 to go. No, yeah, hell no.
Yeah.
You know, just, yeah, no, that was never going to happen. But knowing that I was caliber enough to have made it,
yeah,
and then knowing that, like, you know, oh, I can work towards something, you know, and then, you know, push through the whole, you're not going to get the spot. It's not going to happen. Whatever, all that stuff, you know. It really, like, I don't know, like, making the, you know, just, you have to come into drum corps with confidence. Like, you can't be half-assed in any of that. Just because, like, there's so many people who are way more serious than you are that you owe it to, and you know that you kind of feel that pressure of having to owe it to them. In a way, the music, it pushes you a lot harder than, like, maybe high school did. You're in a more adult situation where nobody's going to be caring about your feelings all the fucking time. You know, there's no medic tent over here with a parent under it, you know, giving you a wet rag. It's going to be, you know, you out here on the field. And it really changes everything musically for me too, where, you know, I just had to get more serious. Like, it was serious. The music was serious. The scales were serious. The warm-ups were serious. The people around you were serious. They have goals and aspirations. They're going to Berkeley and shit. You're like, holy, you know, I gotta be on my shit, bro. So, yeah. And it changes everything now, because like that, the when I applied to Knights is the same mentality that I had when I sent my music into T-Pain. Same mentality. Where it was just like, at first I was like, they're not listening to this. You know what I mean? They don't care about your music. There's nothing you're gonna play that they haven't heard before. There's nothing that you're gonna do that's gonna be as confident. You know, you're not gonna make that spot. And then I send it in, and it does way more than I thought it was gonna do. And I was like tripping the whole time. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's just like you kind of have to get over the whole, like, you know, is it gonna be 1% or 0? Yeah. 1%. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do something other than nothing. And then it turns out that doing something each fucking time is like super, super rewarding. Yeah. It's either, I don't know, it's either I'm not supposed to go that direction or it worked out. Right. There is no loss. You know what I mean? It's either I know where I'm not supposed to go, yeah, or it worked.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
So
just always working.
Yeah, it's always works.
Exactly.
There's no failure in any of this shit.
Absolutely.
No. It's either I wasn't supposed to do that. That's liberating. You know what I mean? I'll never do it again now. Yeah. I'll never fuck up that way ever again, just because I know I'm not supposed to do that. I know that road, where that road goes. Yeah. Cool. Don't even focus on that.
It's a mindset I wish everyone could have. Yeah. Just to be easier on themselves, because good Lord.
And I do that for that very reason, to be a lot more just easier on myself, because you know, you could get
it's
down
an uphill.
It's
failed. Of course, it's an uphill battle as is to add your own, you know, top tier critique of yourself is just like adding so much more to that pile. But you transition so seamlessly into you're producing now, and people finally noticing.
Yeah, they're noticing now. Yeah, it took a little while. Yeah.
Which we had talked about this before we had started rolling, and we were just talking about everyone having their own sacred path. Mm-hmm. And I feel with like most of the people that have in my circle who are doing something creatively, they're following their own sacred path, and the acknowledgement of their creativity is coming. Yeah. I can't ever really gauge when it's going to be coming, because like I couldn't tell you that I would be in contact with one of my favorite rappers, Bones, because I made a video about it.
Yeah, dude, you don't even understand how hype I was that day. I think I liked it within like 0.3 seconds of you posting it on Twitter. I was like, no, is this hold on, is this real? This is real. Holy shit.
don't want to talk too much on this podcast because that's kind of indicative.
Yeah,
of
it
the
could be
point,
another episode. Yeah,
but
anyway,
I freaked the fuck.
Yeah, that was so dope.
Because he liked it, and then I was like, okay, and then I reposted on my story, and then he followed me the next morning. I was like, this motherfucker watched the video.
Yeah,
and then we DM'd, and I was like, I can't take
it's so
this.
dope though.
But
it's so dope.
Point being, off of me.
Okay, yeah.
Back to you. Same feelings that I felt when it became very indicative that T-Pain was someone that you were just in talks with randomly.
Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, I remember it happening a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And
a couple of years ago,
it kind
happened.
of progressively became, Guwell's in the chat. Oh,
Yeah.
Guwell's doing, he just sent in some fi, and then, actual talks of being in that camp. What is that whole situation like for you?
So what happened with that was, it was one of those situations where I was on Twitter and he said he needed Atlanta producers. And I was like, damn, he does live in Atlanta. Like, he is in the Atlanta area at least.
Yes.
He's in Florida. So I was like, man, I should send something in.
Fun fact,
And-
at the not to interrupt you, the theater I used to work at, a regular there.
There?
He's always there.
Man.
So I would assume he's closer to
in Atlanta area, kind of that area, whatever the area is.
Sure.
But like, I was like, man, when I saw it posted, I was like, oh, it's the same situation with the drum corps thing, where I was like, I'm not gonna send this audition, and I'm not gonna let them know I got music, I got beats, I got this. Like, I'm not gonna do that, and I don't know why. I don't know why specifically. It's just, I didn't have the confidence at the time. And then I don't know what it was. I was just like, no, fuck that, bro. Like, and I recorded, the way I recorded it was like so jank as shit. Like, I put my phone next to my KRKs that and then I was like recording the beat and recording me listening to the beat, making it seem like I was making the beat, but the beats were playing through my speakers into my phone mic. And I'm like listening to this shit. I'm like, no way, bro. Like, he's so professional. He's not gonna listen to this shit. But he's a musician at the end of the day, knowing that now he's gonna listen to all of that shit.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that he wants to listen to music. But like, I didn't think about that. I was thinking about he's gonna look at this thing, like listen to the fact that it's coming through my phone speakers, and he's gonna be like, nah, like hell nah.
Right.
And then I'm just sitting in Discord one day, like playing video games with the homies, and then he's like, and then likes again. And I'm like looking at the show. I'm like, did T-Pain just like mine? I'm like, hold on. I stopped the video game, like turned it off and everything. I'm in Discord, like shaking and shit. Like, what the fuck is this, bro? It's not real.
Yeah.
And he followed me, and I was just like, okay. Like, do I DM him? I'm not gonna DM him. Hell no, I'm not gonna DM him. So like, for the longest fucking time, never talked to him. I was like, he just followed me, and I was just like, I'm not even gonna reach out, bro. Like, I'm just like, this is cool. Like, I'm just gonna keep it the way it is. And I just started popping up in his stream for a while. I was always following on stream. I always saw him on stream.
Hell of a live show, by the way.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
So
I always
fun.
like, that's one of my favorite streams that I watch on Twitch. Like, one of my most time. I think I followed him more than I follow any account on Twitch. I think I'm like almost at 3 years straight of just Twitch subscriptions, per month, which for him, I've never done that before. But like, I catch those streams all the fucking time. I try to be in that, and I like the energy of that crew. So it was like, it was always going to be, it was so dope to be a part of something like that, because I'm into the drifting culture, I'm into gaming, I'm into music, and it's to have somebody that like is at that level that is also interested and also thriving in all those areas specific, that's something that like I didn't really think it was possible for myself.
Yeah.
But to see it another, especially another black person do it,
Dude,
what I mean, another black man do it, like I can do that.
Yeah.
So it's so dope to like get the recognition of somebody that. So I was cool with just the recognition of being like, your beats are dope. And then I hit him up on Twitch the other day, like not too long ago. It was like maybe it's like January, like maybe December of last year. And then I was like, hey man, like on Twitch, I was like, yo, what's going on, everybody, blah blah blah. And he was like, hey man, we were just talking about you, by the way. And I was just like, wow, like, oh, what about me, And then we started talking and stuff. He like is really a big fan of my music and my beats and just like my mix style and my I guess my style in general. And just like super supportive.
Yeah.
And like, and I was just super grateful, just the fact that he would even just be like, yo man, like, telling people, yo, go follow. Like, he makes loops, he does all this other stuff. And like, you know, you have no need to do that for me. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, you know, not that I felt indebted in a way, but I was just like, that is such a crazy, you know, like big up from like that level. It is
Huge.
insane. And especially for somebody who's just bedroom producer, I'm just grinding every single day, you know, learning. I haven't been doing it through like releasing music, unfortunately, doing it, you know, the Spotify way and making sure I get numbers and things. I'm just on a knowledge path where I just been every single day I get home from work, if it's an 8-hour shift or whatever it is, shower, go to back to the desk and learn something. It's 1% every single day. So every single day, you know, I'm trying to get a little better at something. Right now, it's my theory, my circle of fifths, and all the other stuff that I'm learning right now. Going back on all my other shit, but yeah, like just being worthy of that attention alone, it was insane. Because I was interning at a studio, a Loud House Studios in Atlanta, and Turbo the Great, you know, running back Turbo was one of the engineers there. And him and Matt Tazik were the only people there who even gave me the light of day to like even listen to my beats at all. Like I was cleaning the room one day and Turbo was like, "You got beats?" And I was like, "Yeah, bro, I got beats." Like, he's like, "Play them." And I was like, "What the fuck?" He just got done with like a Lil Baby, like, you know, Thug session. Play me some of your beats.
Free Thug.
And I'm like, what the fuck? So I started playing some beats, and they were way different than, you know, what he was listening. He wanted to listen to, so he wasn't feeling a lot of them. He wasn't like, this is some weird different shit. He's like, you made the melodies though? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I'll play guitar, a bunch of other stuff. He's like, you play guitar? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, bro, what you need to be doing out here before it gets big is sending these loops in to these rappers and to these producers.
He was the one that gave you that
advice? He gave me that idea.
Holy shit.
And I was an intern, and I was like, man, that's a fucking crazy like thing. It's like, so I gave a loop to Matt Tazik. I went home, I made a loop, gave it to Matt. Matt made a beat out of it the next fucking day, hardest beat I've ever heard at the time. And I was like, man, like it's that simple to just to assist and stuff. And I'm making loops any fucking way, like
exactly.
So I was like, you know, I'm making stuff anyway. So that's what sparked it. And here we are.
That's
T-Pain's
incredible.
like saying like, yo, man, like.
Go to him for the loops.
Which
is something we have been, as a friend group, saying for years. But it's also that acknowledgement from someone that is doing it in music and has done it on the biggest level. Yeah. Because I'd argue he was the hottest artist of 2007.
You know what I'm saying?
You weren't touching T-Pain.
No. And still to this very day, all these artists nowadays, and I'll stay on this hill, they're still not touching T-Pain. In my opinion, personally.
He's an incredible performer.
They can't engineer, they can't produce, they can't dance, they can't sing, they can't drift, they can't play video games, they can't do any of this shit. They're not funny, they can't run a podcast. They're not doing the shit he's doing now.
He's the most interesting man in the world.
You know what I mean? Like, can't do any of that shit. And like, you know, they were praising so many other people, you know, so like that's why I'm such a big fan, where I'm just like, fuck your new artist, you know what I'm saying? This nigga's still killing it. Like, what the fuck, you know what I'm saying? So, regardless, but like, it's just, you know, having that ability just like to, you know, to reach out. And even recently I have my own section in like a private Discord with them, just like where I can like put my music in, and they have a chance to feed out my music, my loops, and my beats and stuff. And just giving me the opportunity to do any of these things, you know, and just that 1% to get me out of what I'm doing, you know, I'm grateful and like super appreciative of even that. Like it's small on their part, you know, but it's fucking huge for me. It's like it's something that's getting me through my workday a little quicker. Maybe speed through, you know, on the interstate, so I can get home a lot quicker. Just so because I know I have these opportunities sitting in front of me that I'm able to exercise them. So you know, it's not like I have to do any of this stuff like that. I get to do all of this stuff, and it's like it's something that I really want to fucking do. So just having somebody at that level, like T-Pain, fucking Ron Gilmore, like all these people like who were just at the top of their game, like at least giving me the time of day to be like, oh man, like you're right track. That's all I need. Direction, that's all I need. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, right track, wrong track. Don't do that with that beat. Like Ron told me when I first put my beats in his show, Who Wants to Smoke, he told me, he's like, you got tight beats in your beats on YouTube. So I had just made a YouTube page, and I was putting like, you know, this type beat Kehlani type beat, whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, stop doing that. He was like, you have Guwell type beats. He's like, your beats sound like you. You know, beats don't sound like they're weird. They start in these weird ways, but it's your own sound. It's your own thing. It's Guwell type beats from now on. And now all my beats are just Guwell.
Yeah.
And I've started taking myself a lot seriously, you know, more seriously, due to these people being like, they're serious about me. You know what I mean? Everybody else is serious about me. So it's like, on me, I'm like, damn, dude, like, why don't I give myself the flowers enough? Like, why am I always going to be like, it's not good enough, don't release that, take that down, don't put that story up, don't post on Instagram, nobody wants to hear that shit. To the point where I do post it, people are like, we wanted to hear this shit the whole time. We were waiting on you to make a joke. We were waiting on you to show your face. We were waiting on you to, you know, do all these, to stream on Twitch, where I'm sitting here with a whole full setup being like, I'm not turning the camera on, bro. I can't, you know, I don't think anybody even gives a shit or not. And then to finding out that people are like, yo, man, we've been waiting.
Yeah. What do you think the root of that?
The root of the confidence issue is, I mean, if you're a therapist, they'd probably say the fact that I don't have anything from the root of me being a child. You know, you praise children for being, they do a weird thing like a cartwheel and you're like, that's a dope ass cartwheel. And that changes everything for you.
Yeah, that
I don't
praise.
have any of those things specifically. I can't recognize a thing, and then my family was like, you're really good at this. It was a lot of, don't do this, and you're bad at this, and you shouldn't be doing that, and not a lot of like rehabilitation of trying to figure out like how I can be better at something. And
then really the acknowledgement comes from band.
Yeah. So like my, you know, and grateful that my aunt came out to those shows and stuff. Even though I don't think she was fully invested in what I did.
No,
she was
100%.
more. She was
proud.
She was just she was, you know, she was there, and that's enough for me. Even if she wasn't listening or whatever that stuff, like I don't even want to think that she wasn't listening personally, because it's a lot of times. Like one time I had a band concert and we did Redacted. She's like, them tubas was killing, and I was like, I play bass trombone. That was me the whole time.
Oh my
I've been working on this for months.
Which, by the way, you murdered that song.
Dude, it was
10 years later. I'm letting you know that recording of that song that y'all played. I was like, Mac is about to get signed by John Mackey.
No, I was when I corrected him on a piece of music too. That's one of my life moments, honestly, when I was just like, this is not the right note, and they sent it back to him, and he's like, he's right, that's not the right note. And to this very day, I'm just like, I corrected Mackey, but like that's not, you know, either way. But but like just getting these opportunities and like being more confident in myself, and then giving myself a chance to fail at something. Yeah. Because like I'm gonna fail by not doing it. So, and I never thought about it that way. Yeah. Whereas it's like 0% is, you know, it's gonna be 0%. Like there's no gain. Right. And I can't complain tomorrow in the morning being like, oh, I'm nowhere closer to where I was gonna get, but never gave myself 1%. And it's just 1%. Yeah. You know what I mean? The bare minimum. It's just 1%. It's just making sure it's making sure I drink water. It's making sure I, you know, if not as much water as I needed to do. Here's my biggest thing that I've been doing with myself and telling myself lately is that I judge myself on my intention and effort, not the result. Because the result, unfortunately, in the universe isn't up to me. It's not going to come around my door today. It's not going to come around my door next week. It's not going to come around my day, you know, a year from now. None of that is up to me, you know, ever. But my intention and my effort when that does, you know, making sure that does happen is the only thing I can control, it's going to get me thus far, that, you know, it's going to get me a little further, but that when that luck comes around, that preparation hits. And that's all I'm looking for, is that, you know, when the door comes back around, when it comes back around my way and I can walk through that bitch, my bag's already in my hand. You know what I mean? I don't got to double back to be like, oh, let me go grab my shit. We're steamrolling through when it's my chance to go do that. It's just making sure that I'm respecting myself enough to give myself the chance to do it. So absolutely, yeah. And you know, I'm not, you know, Mac anymore. I'm Guwell now. You're Guwell. Yeah. Guwell. So, yeah. Fucking it. Yeah. I love that. That was so good. You know what I'm saying? So it's who I am now. I feel like, you know, I have more people in my life now calling me Guwell than I have Mac, which is weird when I hang out with you guys and you're like Mac. And my job calls me that sometimes too, but it's like, it's weird that I'm hanging out with all these artists and all these people that I'm meeting now who are like giving me the time of day of my music, and even if it's a little bit more different, it's different, but they still fuck with it. The overall idea that I'm trying to get across. I'm able to be my own person. Like you used to say, like Flying Lotus and all those other guys that had their own person. I'm feeling like I'm getting to that track where I'm like, oh, I can just be Guwell. Like I can do my own thing. I can just have my own thing, and people, man, just be myself.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work for some people, it doesn't work for them or whatever it is. But like at least giving myself a chance to put myself out there. Yeah. Like nobody said that I shouldn't, and nobody said that I wasn't worthy of it. So why am I not doing it? Why am I acting like somebody's already told me those things?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody's told me those things other than me. It's just, you know, at that point I'm like, okay, I just respect myself. It's enough. It's just as simple as drinking water, eating enough food to eat my 3 meals a day or whatever it is, making sure that I'm doing everything I can do to make sure my career happens and put myself in a better mental space.
Right. Just day by day.
Yeah, day by day. Like I'm not in control of next week, next year, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's just I intend to make today good. If shit don't happen, then shit don't happen. But I intended, and I did everything I could to make the day good. And that gets me through the day. Even if the day goes shittily, I'm just like, well, shit, dog. You know, I did everything I was supposed to fucking do to make sure today was going to be good, and it was bad. It's out of my hands.
It's out of your hands.
Yeah, it wasn't on me.
Exactly. Guwell, thanks for coming on the show, dude.
Thank you, man.